What is up, guys? My name is MipZ and welcome back for yet another League of Legends video. So today we are playing one of my old mains, JINX. This champion is absolutely amazing. She's really fun to play. She is what most people consider to be a hyper carry, which means that she scales insanely well into late game and she becomes really fun once you get there. And this is actually a champion that I take out every once in a while for a little stroll if I'm doing poorly and on kind of like a bad lose streak, because I feel like this is a champ that I consistently can perform very well on. Anyway, in this guide, the only thing we will be focusing on is the macro play, meaning the early, mid, and late game, and just generally the decision making and what you need to be aware of in the different phases of the game. We will not at all go into the mechanics and the combos and flash combos of the champion. Instead, I've left a link down in the description for my other JINX video that goes into detail with only the mechanics. This one will only focus on the macro play. So in this video, I will basically use this game as kind of an example to let you guys into my train of thought, and I'll explain what basically you need to be aware of, and also kind of how I think throughout this specific match. So starting out with the JINX, just a few things that you do need to know is, first of all, she is a hyper carry and she has absolutely insane pushing power, one of the best pushing powers in the game, meaning, and when I say pushing power, I mean objective wise in terms of pushing turrets, etc. She can push things so insanely quickly, and this is something that you want to make sure that you do take advantage on when you do play this champion. A lot of people actually mistakenly think that because the abilities that JINX have are fairly simple, that she's then a simple champion. And here's the thing, she's actually not really. She is actually a pretty difficult champ in terms of learning how to proper attack moves such that you don't end up running into the enemy. And the reason for this is that once JINX's passive Get Excited procs, then she gets this immense movement speed, and a lot of people can't really control this, and they'll end up stopping their own auto attacks or running directly into the enemy because they suddenly get this boost of movement speed. So learning how to constantly move around, reposition, and attack move is super important on JINX. But again, this is not something we'll go super deep into. Just want to make sure that you guys know that this champion is not, despite the abilities being fairly simple to understand, it is not the easiest champ at all. JINX is what I consider to be a follow-up ADC. I'm not 100% sure whether or not that is a like definition term that a lot of people know, but it's something that I commonly use for the way she works. And what I mean with a follow-up ADC is basically, oh, I need to get out of this. We'll have to block them off. What I mean with a follow-up ADC is basically that you don't have any ability to start fights at all, and you don't want to. Generally speaking, JINX does not want to fight unless her teammate or teammates have literally set up the kill for her, and all she needs to do is follow up. It kind of lies in the definition of the word follow up. So I really want this. Oh, we can actually follow along for this, maybe. No, okay. So she really wants to follow up on stuff, and this means, like, I can tell you how 99% of all JINX matchups are gonna basically be in the champ select. And the reason for this is that, or at least how your side of the matchup should be played. So let's see this fight. We're playing with a Vel'Koz. Well, our win condition, or what we need to do, is the only reason why we want to engage at any point is, one, either if Sejuani comes down here, or if our jungler's here, or two, if Sejuani hits her stun, or his. If he hits the stun, then we want to go for an engage. Oh, that was a close one. And the way we go for an engage is that the very first action we take in any follow-up engage is that we put out our mines underneath the target. So if Vel'Koz hits his stun, then our first action is to put down our mines underneath the target, and then we want to start dealing our damage. We can follow up with a sap auto attack, and that way we can actually get the ball rolling. So this is how you want to be doing it. All right, let's go for it back. So this is basically how you want to start all engages. Pretty often I see people playing JINX where their teammate, maybe let's say they're playing with a Leona, and the Leona managed to jump in, stun the target. Then pretty often I actually see a lot of JINX players using their sap, their W first to slow the target, and then they try to put the mines. But pretty often it's not going to be worth it, because you're giving the enemy an option to opt out of your mines, because they can either flash out of it, or they can do something else, or dash. And also you might not even get the trigger off if you cast it too late, and this slow might not be enough to keep them in it. So you always want to make sure that you use your E before, so you follow up with that one. But yeah, here in the early game, your job is to basically follow up on whatever your support and your jungler does. So you're a follow-up ADC. And I really want to emphasize this. And this kind of brings us to the next thing, which is basically how to play JINX in a favorable matchup and in an unfavorable matchup. So there are actually three types of matchups, more or less. There are favorables, unfavorables, and then there are equal matchups. Before we talk about how specifically each one of them work, then think about the fact that JINX is a hypercarry just getting out of the laning phase with somewhat equal farm to the enemy ADC is actually what you can consider a winning lane. So this is something you want to be very aware of. So you want to try to make sure that we can actually hit this. Very nice. So you want to first of all remember that just getting out of the laning phase with somewhat equal farm is considered a victory. So this basically means that when we have these different types of matchups, favorable, unfavorable, and equal matchups, then for the favorable one, then what you want to do is, of course, you want to put yourself in as safe a situation as you can, where you get your farm, where you decrease the farm that your enemy gets, or at least that you put them in a situation where you can push or where your support can push the trigger and start an engage. And this is, of course, by having the wave mostly in the middle of the lane, such that you can, first of all, such that you can zone them away from minions, meaning that you can put yourself in front of your minions. For those of you who don't know what zoning is, you can put yourself in front of your minions, saying, if you want to kill my minion here, you gotta go through me, buddy. Like, gotta go through me, right? Before you can kill my minion. Or the other scenario that we can actually engage on the target. So this is kind of the different types of engages that we can do. I'm actually gonna go ahead, I'm gonna sell my potion, and we'll get this one. So this is basically the different, or the scenario for a favorable one. You want to have the minion wave somewhat in the middle of the lane here, such that you have room to initiate on the enemy, or that you can zone them off. The other scenario is playing in an unfavorable matchup, and this is a little tricky and a little different than a lot of other ADCs. And that is that you actually want to push the enemy and shove them up under their own turret. And I know a lot of people might be looking a little strange at me now and be like, MipZ, why the heck would you push them under turret if you're playing from a disadvantage? Well, the reason for this is that JINX has really insane pushing power. She's really good at this. She's one of the best. And if you push an enemy under ADC under their turret, then they have two options. They can, one, they can fight, or two, they need to try and basically save as much of the farm as they possibly can from dying to the turret. Most and almost all should be going to try to save their farm. While they're trying to save their farm and try and get as much of the minion as they can, then you can poke them at a distance using your rockets. So you can basically sit like this and actually poke them. And like this, you can also use the back minions and poke the enemy champion with those. And the way you do that is just every time this guy walks up, such that he's just about to use his... That should be a kill. Nice. Every time, you can see every time he just walks up, you can hit him. And if he gets too close to minions, you can also just go for the minions. So I don't know what this guy's doing, but that should be a free kill. Thank you. There we go. And of course, what we just did there is not a common occurrence if the enemy plays their cards right. But we'll just push a bit here. We should actually be going for back, but I'm just going to be greedy, take the next armor plating, and then we'll clear out this wave, and then we'll back off. So we'll take this, and then we'll clear this. Whoop. And then just as soon as I've cleared these minions, I will go for it back, and we're going to have a really insane big back here. Actually missed that. That was terrible. All right, so MipZ is coming here, and I did fully overextend this. It was kind of just greed, and I kind of just felt like it. But I should have backed before the last armor plating, but whatever. Also, just stay in sync with my support. All right, so backing off here, we get a really nice back. We get a lot of the items that we want. We got ourselves a new control ward because there's a good chance that ours is going to disappear. And this Drake is going to be gone. And here's the thing. Because I was greedy before, this happens. Actually, oh, I just got something in my throat. But this happens. If I backed before on the first armor plating where I said I should back, then I would have been able to join in here and we could have won this Drake. But because I greeded, we actually ended up losing a lot more. So yeah, kind of see the point in don't greed. And even I sometimes do it because, yeah, it's hard not to. All right, so let's just check that this guy is... Just need to get close enough for my heal. Should be a double, a triple. Sweet. All right, so we are super strong at this point. Let's make sure we push this. But yeah, in an unfavorable matchup, as I was saying before, then you want to push them on the turret so you can poke them. In the equal matchups, it's going to be much more of a team-dependent thing and figuring out, okay, do you feel strong enough to actually play it in an unfavorable way or favorable way? And you don't have to decide right away in any matchup, even in a favorable one or an unfavorable one. You are going to be able to pull out the strategy for the other one. But just generally know that playing against something where it's an unfavorable matchup, then it's a big advantage for you to push them on their turret and poke them there. But make sure you communicate this with your support such that you deep ward the river, so you get the wards a bit deeper into the river, so you have a bit more response time for when their jungler is going to come to gank you, because they will. They 100% will. All right, let's talk. There's a few things that I do want to cover. In terms of your E, as we talked about, you always want to be putting this as a follow-up on your teammates' crowd controls. This is super important. Whoop. Right here, I'm going to block off. This should be another double at a pure minimum. There we go. Sweet. But your E, you want to follow it up. You have two options, using it as a follow or as a blocker. Blockers are basically, let's say that a pretty good scenario is actually the one we just had up here, where I ended up putting my E right there. And what that basically did was, as soon as MipZ went past this point, I was like, you cannot go back. There's no way back, and nobody can come in and actually aid you. So he was stuck in that scenario all by his lonesome. and that just forced him. It's basically blocking off the enemies. The same when you are getting ganked in lane, then let's say the MipZ comes running from here, and what you can do is you can put your mines right here, and they're actually going to ensure the MipZ has to run all the way around this thing. That's going to be super annoying for him. If, however, the targets do get closer to you, then what you want to do is you want to put your E right on top of yourself. And what this is going to do is going to basically ensure that they again have to run all the way around. And let's say MipZ is close enough to use his Q on me, so he actually gets after me. Then what I can do is I can turn around and run back into the mines. And actually, as he gets out of his Q, he's going to be standing in that mine. So really think about the good usages of using your E. Your E is such a powerful tool. All right, I'm pretty sure we can carry this. We should be able to. There we go. We're going to put a ward down. Going to be a little careful here because we don't have... Should be a free kill. Thank you. I appreciate it. I really do, Senna. That was really kind of you. All right. But yeah, as I was saying, generally speaking, with Jinx, you do not want to be engaging by yourself. That's not what you're good at. You want to follow up on whatever your team is doing. You never want to be starting anything yourself. And what you really need to learn also is the attack move, learning how to attack between, or how to move between your attacks such that you do optimal damage, that you become hard to catch. Also because you have insane movement whenever Jinx gets excited. So really play around this. All right, let's kind of start talking a little bit about the mid to late game. As you get into the mid to late game, things are actually pretty straightforward on Jinx. You are a team fighter. That's what you want to do. You're not a duelist at all by any means. You have pretty good poke, so you can take advantage of this, especially if you end up buying something like a rapid fire cannon. Gives you some extra range. That can be super good. But overall, you are just a team fighter, and this is what you want to be playing around. So you always want to be playing the more or less backline when the fight starts, and you want to just hit whatever target is closest. If too many targets are... So right here, we're going to try and do... Okay, actually fail that tremendously. If I can get that guy down, then we should be good. I actually failed that really bad. I should have gotten Yi into my mines. I should have stopped up, waited for Master Yi to actually come out of his Q as I'm standing on the mines. Then he would be snared, and then pull myself away. I just kind of played it too eagerly and failed. I apologize for that. But I hope you guys got the point of what you should do and not what I did. But yeah, in the team game, you want to be playing the back line. You want to be trying to do as much damage as you can on whoever is closest. If several targets are on top of each other, then it can be an advantage to sometimes use your rockets to basically deal more AoE. But with that said, then your rockets can also be a good tool for single target damage, because it allows you, it has longer range, which allows you to stay further back. So don't be shy to use this one. If you feel unsafe going into minigun range, then use your rocket launcher. Rather deal that a little bit less damage per second and stay safe than just walking right into an engage or right into a suicide mission. So really make sure that you do play around this. So at this point, I should have actually thrown my ult there. That would have killed that Israel, but I was a little unsure, so I actually saved it. If we hit another Q, actually, and this is something I also talk about in the mechanics guide, is that you want to, if you know 100% sure that you are going to hit your W, your sap, then make sure to throw your ult instantly, because it's going to become almost untouchable pretty much. Like they are going to have to use a dash or a flash or something else in order to get out of it. All right, so... Okay, he walked away. That's not good, not good, not good. Oof. That was so badly played by me. But yeah, basically this is what you want to do in the team game. You want to play the back line. In lower elos, but I know playing backline can be a bit more difficult because it's just pretty people play a bit more random, and you're not really, if you don't have anything to hide behind, it becomes more difficult. But then at lower elos, it can be an advantage for you to then use your rockets a bit more to create more like a bigger range between you and your enemy. All right, let's get that item, and we're pretty soon. Actually, we finish. There we go. We can get this, and we get ourselves that one and a far sight. So we're in a really good spot with 12-1. We're doing an absolute immense amount of damage. But even though we're really far ahead, then never ever stop farming. Make sure that you keep your farm up. Use the jungle as well if need be. And if it's not annoying, don't go over where your jungler is standing and just take his farm. But whenever you can see there's a good like time for taking a little bit of gold in the jungle, then go ahead and do that to keep your farm up. That is the most important thing for you. Something I want to talk about in terms of ult is that you can actually get a lot of cheesy free kills on JINX because people get low HP. So first of all, keep an eye on other lanes throughout the game. If in laning phase somebody is backing and they're low HP, then you're probably going to be able to catch them with your ult. If they're running in what we call one direction, yeah, not the band, then basically use your ult in that direction. So let's say that like right here, let's say this Yi is low HP and I'm standing down here. I know for a fact he's gonna run this way. He's not looking to dodge or run anything else. He's running in one direction. Still not the band, but he's running in one direction. Make sure that you take advantage of this. If somebody's chasing, or if you know somebody's running away from something right here and they're running up this way, then you can fire off your ult right here, because you know for a fact that they're not, like, they are gonna move through there. Like, there are, when people are running in one direction and you know they're not expecting to change direction, or if they're chasing somebody, then it's very easy for you to actually just get a free kill or some free damage. And also just use it for assists as well, even in early game, because it is gonna be really strong for you. Not really sure why our team is going 3-man up after this Garen, because we're actually just losing a Drake for it, but whatever. All right, so I think for our next item we're gonna go for a Mortal Reminder, because they do have a bit of healing. So let's go ahead and do this. But I'm hoping our team will start and we can actually start grouping up a little bit so I can play the back line. We need some vision in here. Oh, yes, that was really good that we did that. Seeing this, I don't want to walk through. Okay, so Vel'Koz he has balls of steel. All right, right here I might, because I have a corridor to hide behind, which is fine. And I'm really fit, so I'm going to risk a little bit here. They're going to the other side, so we're gonna go back over. All right, so hopefully this game we should be able to, if our team groups up, this should be pretty easy because we're super fed and we should be able to push really hard. But one thing you can see I consistently do in this game, I make sure that I keep my farm up. I keep my farm up even though I'm really far ahead. So right here, put him in the mines, walk out. You can see this is exactly what you want to be doing on him. Again, I could be chasing this Israel, but I don't want to. I want to make sure that I do go for whatever target is closest. And then whenever you kill a target, remember that you have your get excited on JINX to suddenly get this burst of movement speed and catch up to whoever is running away. So just make sure to stay safe. As an ADC, it's so much more important to stay safe than it is to chase down a target. Then rather wait for the next opportunity. And you can see this is, again, as I said, JINX is a hyper carry. We can literally push objectives so freaking quickly. Like right here, we just smash directly through 2 turrets and an inhibitor. Now we can go back up. We can consider taking a Baron if our team is up for it. We can clear out their jungle on the way. This is also an objective. So remember this as what, like this does not slow us down at all. Like killing these things does not slow us down by anything that is significant, and it gives us a lot of gold. So right here, we're just in such a good spot. We can go back down here. We have way too much gold. Like we should have had it back a long time ago, but haven't had the real chance for it. But we're gonna make sure we get it in there now. So we have a couple of different options. One is we could go for the model reminder, and we could go for the bloodthirster. Considering the fact that we are this fed, I'm actually gonna go for the model reminder, and I'm gonna start building the executioner's calling for the mortal reminder. And this is just because I feel like right now, looking at our team, we are the primary cause of like if as long as we're alive, we win. And I think mortal reminder, the damage we deal right now, like they are not out healing anything if we're shooting at it. So for me right now, I feel like it's more important that we get this this bloodthirster. In a common game, I would probably be going mortal reminder into a guardian angel if I was not this far ahead. But I want to make sure that I build myself in a way where I feel like I can snowball it and actually just hyper carry it. So this is what we're gonna try and do. Right in here, I think this MipZ is just getting greedy at this point. He's really just, or getting desperate rather. You can see he's just really trying to get a kill somewhere, and he just gets his legs swept out under him, which is good for us. All right, so we basically have everything we need in order to win at this point. If our team would group, we can force a fight and we can actually finish off this game. So group and force fight to finish. Because we can, I'm 100% positive that if we stick together and just force a fight, then we are going to win this, especially as they constantly put one of their teammates somewhere else. Like they constantly try and go Garen top or something else. And yes, he can split push, but against us, the 4 others stand no chance. Like if we group as 5 and just push, they have no chance whatsoever. But looking at things, it's apparently a hard thing for our team to group. So we're apparently struggling, like just walking a little bit around. Let's make sure we get this Drake though. Maybe the fight, we can get a fight down here on the Drake, but I think we're going to be clearing Drake before they even get here. So yep, we're right there. Okay, so MipZ is coming down here. Right here, we really need to start thinking about our position because we don't want to get caught between anybody. There we go. This is going to be a triple. And, oh, gonna get a quadra kill. And now we can actually just run right into the middle of the base and finish it off. But like the last fight was the closest to actually getting to show you guys how to play the backline. But think about your position, go for whatever is closest, and rather like take distance and then kind of move one target after the other. Like you are an absolute beast on JINX, and make sure that you use this. Like she is so fun to play, but remember, you're not an initiator, you're a follow-up ADC. So do follow-up plays, meaning when your teammate's done, when they do something, then you use your damage, and then you use your snare. Like think about your E basically as you have 3 use cases for it, more or less ish. You have follow-up, which is the primary one, which is the one that you're going to use it most commonly for. Then you have the blocking the target, meaning blocking them from walking a specific way, blocking them from running back where they came from. And then you have this defensive E, which is putting it on top of yourself and saying, hey, if you want to go to me, you basically have to sit in this snare, or you have to use a flash or run around it in order to get to me. So that is kind of the 3 most common use cases for it. Might not be the only ones, but it's the most common ones and the ones that you should be using it for. Don't throw your E's random out there and just be like, hey, here's my mines. They're not going to do anything for you. You have to use them with an intent. That's very important. And your E are some of the most, yeah, it's the way you win engages in lane is by following up with your E before anything else. But yeah, I hope you guys kind of enjoyed this one. I hope you learned a thing or two. And yeah, it was a really fun game. I think it showed off a good portion of how to play Jinx and why this is a champ that I used to main. I really, really love playing her. She's extremely fun, and she feels a lot different than a lot of other ADCs, which in my opinion is super cool. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, then make sure to subscribe down below. Join in on our awesome community. I would really appreciate it. It's really, I'm so humble and so like, I think it's so insane how much our community has grown over the past few weeks. So thank you guys so much for that. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, if you want to see me live stream, go to twitch.tv/MipZ_live. And I stream in there every single Friday. And yeah, if you enjoyed this, of course, or found it helpful or something, make sure to click that like button. But that is going to be it for this video. As always, stay awesome, have fun, and take it easy, guys.